Welcome to Business Class. I'm Steve Ekstrom from Learn Tourism, a nonprofit academy dedicated to advancing the tourism industry through innovative training and sustainable practices. Our mission? To empower travel professionals and communities with the knowledge they need to create meaningful, authentic, and sustainable tourism experiences. Ready to join us on this journey? Visit learntourism.org and start making a difference today.
Andy Clinton. I'm the president and CEO with Visit York County. We're a tourism organization. We're right outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. So I'm hoping everybody is familiar with Charlotte. So we're that suburb of Charlotte. We are technically, so some people mess this up as far as we're Rock Hill or York County, North Carolina. We're right on that border, 20, 30 minutes from uptown Charlotte, which is their downtown area and their airport amenities like that. We've grown a lot significantly in the past few years.
Where have you seen the most growth?
Really, it's a good question. So York County, we have 5 different municipalities within York County. Rock Hill is the largest one. Fort Mill, Interstate 77, which is the major highway that connects us to Charlotte. The closer you are to Charlotte, to that interstate, that's where the growth is going. Fort Mill, one of those communities where several years ago, talking 40,000 people and it's doubled. So there's communities like that where Fort Mill is a few exits closer to Charlotte. A lot of those people, they're working in Charlotte or they just had a job in Charlotte and now they're looking for the place to raise their 2 kids and their dog, and Fort Mill is that spot. But you are also starting to see the further you remove yourself from Interstate 77, start to get a little bit more rural, whether that's farms or houses that have more acreage. You are seeing growth in those areas as well, still being close enough to Charlotte, but more low key. I feel like that's a trend for tourism in general. Not saying people stop going to Times Square or Houston or Chicago, but you're starting to see more tourism for quaint downtown one streetlight, the mom and pop restaurant or the locally owned brewery. You are starting to see that trend tourism as well.
I think that trend can be summed up in one word, really, and that's authenticity. Looking for those authentic human connections. I lived in New York City for 13 years, so I can tell you what an authentic New York City interaction is.
Yeah.
But I can also tell you what it's like growing up in a small town. And either way, people are craving that human connection. How did you end up finding this job, this career?
I feel like a lot of people, when they are in the tourism world, especially if it's a DMO, myself out of college, I had no idea what a DMO or a tourism organization, and typically it's relationships. But prior to full-time employment, so when I was in college, a lot of my internships were based around golf. I'm not a golfer, but that's just how it worked out. I was a sports management major at University of South Carolina. A lot of the internship opportunities were through the Masters golf tournament in Augusta. So I did that for 3 years. And then I worked the PGA Championship as an internship. I did have an opportunity after that where the PGA of America will hire you to work 6 months or year bouncing around different tournaments. I had an opportunity to go to the Ryder Cup in Chicago. This is right as I was graduating. Been dating my girlfriend, now wife, for a couple years, where I had this opportunity in Rock working for York County, which is a tourism organization that I had no idea what it was. I just had a friend of a friend tell me about the position. It was a full-time position in my hometown and entry level. The girlfriend at the time was a lot more fond of me working my hometown an hour away. She was a rising senior at University of South Carolina. So an hour away versus, I don't know how far away. If I was in Chicago, a lot longer.
That's an interesting situation to be in where you both grew up in the area and now you represent the area for tourism. In what ways do you see yourself as a steward for the community as opposed to just part of economic development and driving more visitors?
You bring up a good point. Obviously, there's lots of people in the tourism industry where they're not working where they grew up, which I honestly respect, I need to be cognizant, making sure the staff is not just homegrown talent. Not saying that's bad, right? We do have some of that, but being from this area, there is that community feel. And I think that's being talked about a lot more tourism organizations, that we get so caught up in, we need to tell county council about the economic impact of this event, how many room nights, and the tourism factor. All tourism organizations in Busy York County, we need to continue to grow, do a better job telling the story of how we're affecting the community. I just left our board meeting where we have Carowinds, the large amusement park, and how many room nights they generate, but that they employ 800 residents of York County. I think that touches them a little bit more, telling the story of local business owners and how tourism is making an impact them. I think it's pretty neat how the tourism organizations, like I said, I think we all need to do a better job of telling how we're directly affecting the local bakery or brewery or restaurant. And we got to craft that message a little bit better.
In what way would you like to leave the community better than you found it?
I come from Rock Hill in this county where 20 years ago, it was Friday night lights and high school football. Do you miss some of that? And of course, the old school population of the county. So all this traffic and transplants coming in, you hear that, right? Are there moments that I missed when I was in fifth grade and you had your handpick of 5 different restaurants you to, and you would see everybody there, and it's different now. But the message I'm passionate is 20 years ago, our downtowns were vacant. Now you have to make a reservation. You have to wait 30 minutes to get into the restaurant. And you have lots of people coming to our downtown. We had a Christmas festival. Thousands of people were in downtown Rock Hill a couple weekends ago. I come from a background. My dad had a locally owned business, and it's a passion point for me, supporting local businesses, trying to help support other jobs and industries beyond hotels is how we're funded. That's 90% of our funding. That's a priority. But just seeing the trickle down effect to parks, Carowinds, breweries, and restaurants.
How would you like the members of your team to describe you?
They can see that I'm passionate and I care about the organization and I care about what I do. And I'm always big on telling our team, which small team, 7 people, and I understand it's a job. You're getting paid to do this, but try to have passion that you truly care. I feel like we get that. That's important for me as far as our staff, whether you don't have to be born and raised in Rock Hill. One of our employees moved 4 years ago from Colorado, and she's from California. She runs our social media channels, our website, and a lot of our marketing efforts. She cares about doing a good job for the hotels and visitors. That's important for me, just having that passion. Try to be transparent with our team, reality of different situations.
If you could grab anything in your office that means a lot to you, what would it be?
I got a shelf with a bunch of stuff on it behind me. My 2-year-old and 4-year-old do different crafts and things like that. And that's probably my top priority as far as family and my 2 kids. There's a bunch of other fun stuff on there from different events we've hosted.
So you mentioned folks moving to town with their 2 kids and a dog. What kind of dog do you have?
That's, we're the prototypical, 4-year-old daughter, 2-year-old son, wife, and a golden retriever. So there you go.
Life is good, right?
Yeah.
What do you do to celebrate your downtime?
So went to University of South Carolina, and I'm diehard. Attend a lot of Gamecock football games, basketball, and baseball. It's about an hour away from us. Season tickets to football games. We try to go down as much as we can. The reality, if you're in tourism, we have a lot of events on nights and weekends. Your time is filled up there, but whenever we get a chance, we'll make it down to Columbia, South Carolina. We make it to some football games. Other than that, your typical family type stuff, whether that's going to a local farm or going to Carowinds. We have seasons passes, doing stuff with the family. You can probably spot me at a local brewery, typically with my brother, my dad, or one of my friends on a Thursday or Friday evenings.
What's something you wish you knew about tourism before you started the job?
I know I'm still relatively young in my career. Early on, you take it as a job. But when you're getting out of school, you're looking for somewhere to have a job and have a paycheck every other week and pay the bills and hopefully have a little bit of fun. I guess what you don't realize as much is that the impact that you can make. It can be a Facebook or an Instagram post. This happened a few weeks ago. Local bakery, they sell mainly gluten-free, relatively new, and we did a post about them. We had a great short form video and us pulling apart brownies and cookies, made it look really good and really fun. Then you go back a few days later and they said, you guys really created a problem for us. We sold out of everything. I don't think you quite understand the grasp of when you recruit and bring a new event into town, or you market a brewery or a bakery, the direct effect that you can truly impact businesses and their lives. They're having to employ workers on salaries and things like that. You probably don't think about that as much when 12 years ago applying for an entry-level job in tourism.
What lesson have you learned that you think other leaders should understand?
A big one, and I feel like this could really go. I'm not trying to get all soapbox or very high level, but I'm very big on sometimes it could potentially detriment a culture relationship, but I'm very big on having new ideas and different ideas and having a difference of opinion. Like if there's a disagreement in the office, it can almost silo or something like that. I'm always very big on, you don't want that in an office. You want 5 different people or 6 or 10 or 50, but you want people to have different opinions and you want people to think creatively and think outside the box. All right, for person A and person B to not be on the same page on something. They think it should go this way. And I like that. And the whole thing is you don't make it turn into something where you splinter a relationship or something like that. It's good to have different opinions and I welcome it. And I think it's just big for tourism organizations. I think the ones that thrive probably do stuff a little bit differently and break the mold or test the waters. I think those are the tourism organizations that thrive.
Who do you look up to?
I've had a lot of good leadership in the past within the organization. I can name drop Billy Dunlap. He's now director at Visit Spartanburg. He's with One Spartanburg. He's been a great mentor to me. Aldous Cole, he's another one. He's director at Discover Crystal River. It's in Florida, but he's another one that I was under him for years. He's the one that showed me the ropes and really gave myself a little bit more confidence. I'm getting better at it. Being on camera and doing interviews is not something even 5 years ago that I would say I'm comfortable.
I'm sorry. Am I torturing you right now? You're being tortured?
Yeah, something like that. I try to just be more authentic and go with it. My dad's an easy one. He's a business owner. Worked hard, cared about people. Him and my grandpa had a car dealership. That's where I get the authentic, transparent, care about people. I think that's where it stems from. Work hard. So that's a lot of where I get my mindset from.
What would you like to ask me?
I'll start off with some easy ones, but what's your background? Give me a little bit more of your story.
Sure. I worked 20 years in tourism development. The first half of that, primarily on site with museums, attractions, restaurants, activities. The second half of that was helping organizations develop travel trade markets and tap into new audiences. I would show up in town and find out when your soft periods were, knowing what visitors travel during the soft period, then find the things that they'll find interesting in your destination.
Yeah.
And help you bring it to market. I did that for about 10 years and realized that most of the training and education in the business was terrible. With a sister who's an instructional designer and organizational psychologist by trade, we set about figuring out why it was so bad and what it would take to fix it. And when COVID struck, we'd figured out how to fix it. So let's just do this full time. And that's how the nonprofit got started. Now we have almost 30,000 students enrolled through us this year.
Correct.
We're working with almost 50 destinations in helping them create tourism ambassadors or travel trade training or training for their staff. It's a wonderful adventure. I lived in South Florida. I lived in New York City for a while. Then I lived in Florida. Mentioned Crystal River. My mom's about 5 miles from there.
Awesome. Yeah.
3 years ago, I decided to sell my house and take a road trip. And as you can see, I'm still in an RV.
So you're touring.
I've spent 3 winters in Mexico. I've crossed most of Canada. And now I'm just outside of Phoenix with my 2 dogs sleeping comfortably on the opposite couch.
I love Phoenix.
Yeah, good place. It's
Yeah.
nice.
I grew up in Rock Hill. Don't foresee myself moving anytime soon. But as far as ideal climate, right now it's 60s, and they're like, this just doesn't feel like Christmas. I don't like it. Needs to be colder, and I'm like, I don't care. I keep it 70 degrees. Phoenix or maybe Moab, Utah is because I deal with humidity. Just give me 75 and sunny every day.
I can live with that. I'm
Yeah.
not a winter person myself.
Yeah.
My friends up north, I play a big game of connect the dots. If I have to be
Mhm.
somewhere, I just connect all of the dots of things that I found interesting or people that I know to get. And my friends up north are always like, come and visit. I'm like, in the summer. I'm not shy.
Right in the same boat with you. Might have opened up a whole can of worms. So where's your top place right now? Where all have you been to so far? Is that
Oh,
just
God.
that's too long of a list to even?
I have visited 47 of the 50 states.
Wow.
Alaska, Washington, and Oregon are still left.
Oh,
I've traversed from central Canada all the way over to the Atlantic provinces down the East Coast. Like I said, I've done Mexico 3 times. I've crossed mainland Mexico and I've done Baja.
it's awesome.
When people ask me what my favorite place is,
I was going to be there.
yeah,
Go
You know,
Cumin.
I have to say it depends on the criteria because you can't compare working remote from Arches National Park
Mm-hmm.
to hanging out in Savannah, Georgia.
Yeah.
They're
Just two
very
different experiences.
Yeah, my favorite experiences have been those authentic experiences. I've spent time on a bison ranch. I've stayed at a dairy farm and a creamery. I've gone crawfish harvesting in Louisiana with an old Cajun man and
Yeah.
an authentic boil. I spent time on the reservations with Native American families and indigenous families. All of those things that connect with people are the experiences that I value most.
Yep. It's funny how certain things are cyclical. I've been with this organization long enough where somebody will bring up an idea and that actually came up 5 years ago. we can explore it again. What's been talked about for years, experiential tourism, and craft the experience. But I think it's even shifted more. This was first time I've heard this term. It was about a month ago at a conference. And then it's like travel like a local. Yeah. People they don't want to go to the restaurant that every tourist goes. They want to go to the hole in the wall bar or the mom and pop spot, or like you said, doing that authentic experience.
If you want Vegas,
Yeah.
go to Vegas.
Correct.
Can't go to Paris.
Yeah.
If folks want to learn more about visiting your destination, how would they?
Our main asset is our website, visityorkcounty.com. We do a great job on our social channels. We're on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn. It's either Visit York County or Visit York County SC. Our Instagram is Visit York County SC. There is a York County, Pennsylvania. We did a joint post. One of our marketing team came up with the idea because everybody gets confused. There's the York County, South Carolina, and the county, Pennsylvania. So we did a collab post of fall in both places. But we're South Carolina.
Awesome.
VisitYorkCounty.com. We'll get one.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to Business Class. This episode was brought to you by Learn Tourism, the nonprofit academy where we advance the tourism industry with cutting-edge training and sustainable practices. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to visit learntourism.org to learn more about our programs and how you can get involved. Until next time, stay curious, continue learning and making a difference through tourism.